Linguistic description. Today we are going to study about linguistic description, which is one of the topic of your stylistics. And as you can see our progress, we are on the fourth topic of our course 321. And after completing this topic, we will be left with three topics, which are conversational style, scripted speech, stylistic analysis of a variety of written and spoken texts. So let's move towards topic. Before understanding this topic, it is important to know the term linguistic description. So by its very name, you can make a sense that it's about linguistic description. Description means to describe something, and we are going to describe linguistic features of specific given text or content. So whenever you are going to undertake linguistic description of something, so you can be given a question, or you can be given a passage or a piece of text to describe it linguistically. And what you can trace in those given texts or given contents, that we are going to study in today's lecture, that in what fields or in what ways you can understand the linguistic contents of a given text and how you can describe them. What kind of studies can be done on a given text. So linguistic description is a systematic and detailed analysis of the structure and the use of a particular language, in which you basically are given a text or a passage or a content, and you are required to give an analysis. Analysis can be of its structure or the use of some sort of language. You can even trace the purpose of language, objectives of particular language being used there. It aims to document and describe the various components of language. So you will be describing like its phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. In the given text, you can be asked to give a linguistic description in the field of any of these things. And all of you have understood and you have studied about all of these fields as separate courses. So you can better know what sort of questions or what sort of descriptions you can be giving about a particular text. Linguists use linguistic description to gain a comprehensive understanding of how a language works and to provide an accurate account of its rules and patterns. It's about rules, patterns, usage, impact, and how it makes sense. Let's have more detailed explanation of linguistic description and its key components. Whenever you are going to describe some text or some discourse or some sort of writing or speech, so you can be explaining its phonetic components or its phonological aspects. So as you know, phonetics deals with the physical properties of speech sounds. That I can assume that you know that what is phonetics, while phonology focuses on the abstract sound patterns and rules within the language. Linguistic description in phonetics involves identifying and describing the individual speech sounds, as you know, which are called phonemes, and their characteristics, such as the place and manner of articulation. So whenever you are going to analyze any given text, so you are going to analyze either its phonemes, like you can just analyze its phonology, the sound systems, or you can even analyze how these sounds are produced. In phonology, linguists study the sound patterns, phonological rules, and the distribution of sounds in language. Sometimes you can be undertaking the morphological aspects of a given text. So then you are going to give a linguistic description of a text in the field of morphology, or you can be dealing with its morphology. Again, morphology is a study of structure and formation of words in a language. You can be understanding the usage of words, how words are formed, how they are inflected, how they are derived. So you can conduct such study either in your given language or either in your target language. You can conduct such kind of researches in any language to understand its morphology. So it explores how morphemes are combined to create various word forms and how they convey grammatical information such as tense, number, gender. For example, if you are going to describe the linguistic aspects of some Chinese text, and you, especially if you are required to explore its morphology, so what you are going to trace, that how they convey grammatical information, the words particularly, how words can denote the sense of tense, how they can change number, and how they carry gender. That you can describe in particular language. If you are going to give a linguistic, especially syntactical description of some language, so you must know how you can deal it in syntax. And you know, syntax deals with the arrangement of words to form phrases and sentences. It is a little bigger step, the next step from words to sentences, how words are joined to form phrases, and then phrases are formed to make sentences. So linguistic description in syntax involves analyzing the rules and patterns that govern sentence structure in language. It examines how different types of phrases are formed and how they are combined to create grammatical and meaningful sentences. So you can trace syntactical structure of any given text, of any language which you are going to deal with. Sometimes you are asked to give semantic description of a text, which is called semantic description, but that again comes under the umbrella of linguistic description because semantics is part of linguistics. So semantics is the study of meaning in language. So when you are undertaking such sort of description, so you are going to explain the semantics of that language. What you can analyze? You will analyze the meaning of words in that language, the meaning of phrases and sentences. It explores how words convey their literal and figurative meanings. You know how words are similar and how they are different, and all the languages have these differences and similarities. All of those have productivity in language. They have limited words which may have more than one meanings. How these words are related and how they are different, that system goes same in every language. So when you are going to understand and explain and explore that kind of aspect of language, so you are also again undertaking linguistic description. You are giving linguistic description that how words carry meaning in some language. In pragmatics also, linguistic description can be given, and what you will focus on that use of language in specific social and cultural context. Linguistic description in pragmatics involves what you will do. You will study how language users use language to achieve special or specific communicative goals, how they can communicate in different situations, in different contexts, with different people, how they can convey some idea with politeness, sarcasm, and indirect meanings. So this kind of study will be called pragmatic description. There are different methods by which you can give linguistic description of the given text. For that, you will collect data, and from where they will collect data? The linguists collect data from the native speakers of that language of which they are going to describe, and then they will take interviews, they can record, they can take written text and language corpora. After collecting data, the next step is to transcribe and transliterate. Transcription is the procedure in which you just transcribe things as it is using non-Latin script, like you write Roman Urdu. So you just write, or you can just transmit the exact words of the people in the same language, but later on when you transliterate, you translate that language into the given language, which is the target language. After this step, The next step is analysis and categorization. Then you collect the data, then you organize the data, and then you make analysis of that data based on their patterns and characteristics. The next step is formalization. Linguistic rules and patterns are often formalized through linguistic notation representation. New rules are formed, new findings they can be suggested as the new rules. And linguistic description is a fundamental aspect of linguistics, as it provides a solid foundation for the understanding of the structure of and the use of language. It is very important, as well as for comparing and contrasting different languages. If you want to contrast or compare two languages, so if you are undertaking any study, so you have to draw a comparison by giving the description of both languages. It also plays a crucial role in language preservation. You can preserve your language, you can make it safe for the coming generation. In language teaching also, linguistic description is very important because it is the best way to understand language and its rules. In translation studies, it has a greatest role, because if you want to transcribe some language, if you want to translate one language to the other, so you have to describe the linguistic features, or you have to at least understand the features of language. There are some examples of linguistic description in different components of language, that what sort of studies can be undertaken. In phonetics, analyzing the articulation of the sound, for example, t in English, and you can identify its dental alveolar place of articulation, time instead of time. So in phonetics, you can even take a study on the word th. In phonology, you can even have a complete study on the word, like the sound, the mid sound, sing, and sound, how it sound in the start, like nose, and how it sound in sing. So in phonology, you can describe the reason of this allophonic variation. In morphology, you can understand, or you can describe the linguistic property of how a single word can denote different tenses by just adding morphemes, ed with walk to walked to make past tense, or walking from walk by adding ing to make a present participle. So same rules or different rules can be applied into some other language, which you can be describing in linguistic description. Similarly, in syntax, you can be given some sentences in one language and to analyze its sentence structure, that what is the place of subject, verb, and object. You can compare it with some other language where the subject can come later or the object can come first. Similar rules goes for semantics. In semantics also, you can even have a study on synonymy, antonymy, how different words sound same, how different meaning words can sound same, how similar sounding words have different meanings. So such relationships can be traced. For example, in semantics, the word run, it has more than one meaning, like to run on foot, to move quickly on foot, but it has another meaning, like he runs every morning, or to operate a machine. To run a machine also has the same word run, but the meaning is different. In pragmatics, analyzing the use of indirect speech acts, you can have a study on speech acts and politeness strategies, and to compare it with some other language, like in Japanese. For example, in Japanese culture, using indirect expressions like "excuse me, may I ask a question?" instead of direct request serves as a polite speech act. So before requesting, they ask a question. There is a specific way in their language, the way they make request, which can be different in some other languages. So these examples illustrate how linguistic description involves analyzing specific linguistic features within a language and understanding how they contribute to overall structure, meaning, communicative function of that language. Linguistic description is a crucial aspect of linguistic research and enables a deeper understanding of the complexities and nuances of human language. So basically, they study the function of language, the basic features of language, the sound systems of language. In other words, It understands and describes everything about language, how language works, how it makes a meaning, how it can be interpreted, how it can be used in different ways. So it's all about language. That is why we call it linguistic description. That's all for today.